A year ago, the conversation around Paul Skenes was the Pirates were wasting him, that they had this generational pitcher and they were wasting his time whenever he was under team control. And I am not going to argue against that. 2025 was a lost year for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And they went into this winter and they really made a conscious effort to improve the lineup. And it has been improved. But here's the deal. In 2025, the Pirates were 7-8 in Paul Skenes' first 15 starts. In 2026, they are 6-9. Good morning and welcome to Offbeat here on North Shore 9 presented by FanDuel. My name is Alex Stumpf and this is a daily look at your Pittsburgh Pirates who are heading in the wrong direction right now. They have dropped 3 straight series and we looked at the last episode, we looked at the last 2 series. In Atlanta, Los Angeles at home, a real opportunity to show, hey, we're in the mix. Take us seriously. We want to be a postseason contender. And while one bad week doesn't, end those dreams and it doesn't eliminate them from any sort of consideration, they did not have a good week. They hung in a couple games, but they went 1-5. And it was rough because you look at the rest of the schedule through the All-Star break and hell, even through the end of July. And it really doesn't let up. And it started with this Marlins series. And I know the Marlins, if you just look at the standings, aren't as good as the Braves and the Dodgers, and they're not, but they're a young, scrappy team who I think can still make some sort of run toward October. They certainly look like that type of team in Pittsburgh this weekend. Marlins take 2 out of 3. The Pirates have dropped 3 straight series. And in the rubber match on Sunday, the Pirates had their ace, Paul Skenes, on the mound. And Skenes gives them a quality start, and it's not enough. The offense does not come through with runners in scoring position. The bullpen gives up a couple big runs. I mean, Brian Reynolds did hit a home run with 2 outs in the 9th. That didn't really amount to anything in this game, but if the bullpen had put up some zeros, it would have been a game-tying homer. So it's one of those series where it's like, yeah, that one could haunt maybe. That could haunt. Especially whenever you have Paul Skenes on the mound, and he did give up a couple homers. He was not his best self. Paul Skenes hasn't been 2024, 2025 Paul Skenes in 2026. I know every single time I say that, there are comments saying like his whip is still one of the best in baseball. His FIP is one of the best in baseball. He's, just been unlucky. He's still really good. Look at the xERA. And I get it. I'm not saying he's bad, but you know what? He entered Sunday not in top 10 in WAR or win probability added among National League pitchers. Not in the top 10 for ERA. Like, he's not been elite. He's just been really good. Hell, if you want a hot take on this podcast, Paul Skenes is a fringe all-star in 2026. I suspect he will get in because Major League Baseball wants to promote its stars, and he'll get the nod that way. But, man, whenever you look at what Ohtani's doing and Mizorowski is doing and Sanchez is doing and Burns is doing, and it's just a long list before you get to what Paul Skenes is doing. But he is still pitching well. He is still pitching well enough that the Pirates shouldn't be 6-9 in his starts. Last year's team was wasting Paul Skenes because they weren't a good enough club. They weren't assembled with enough talent to be a legitimate contender. This year, they're wasting Paul Skenes in that whenever he takes a mound, they aren't getting wins. The Tigers have been a very volatile club the last 3 years, but they have twice made the postseason in large part because of Skubal, who is the best left-handed pitcher in the American League. I have to say that now because of Christopher Sanchez. I mean, I think there's a real claim there. But he is one of the best, if not the best pitcher in baseball. And the Tigers have had some ups and some downs. They made that outrageous run at the end of 2024 to sneak into the playoffs. They had that incredible collapse in 2025 and still barely snuck in. But you know what? They have made the dance twice, in large part because both of those years, they were 21-10 whenever Skubal was on the bump. Last year, Pirates were 17-15 with Paul Skenes. The last 2 years, they're sub 500 whenever Paul Skenes pitches. The best pitcher, perhaps in franchise history, and the Pirates can't win half the times he starts. And this is a better team. Yeah, they are going through a lot right now. The bullpen is not been good all year long. The offense is top heavy and it's without O'Neal Cruz. I get that, but this still at the end of the day is a 500 club that has aspirations to be more. Part of those aspirations has to be Paul Skenes getting wins. One of my big I'm an analytics guy. You know, I am new aged. I get that. One of my biggest old school takes is that pitcher wins still matter. Because it means that day you outpitched your opponent. You could have maybe a mediocre start, but it means you won at least 5 innings, meaning you didn't screw over your bullpen, and you outpitched the other guy. I think there's value in that. Losses, there's too much that's out of your control. You can go 9 innings and allow 1 run and get a loss. I get that. I can't hold that against the pitcher. But even if you go 5 innings and give up 4 runs and you get the win, it's like, well, you did better than the other team. You did better than what the day's opposition offered. And as great as Paul Skenes has been, that has not been the case enough. And you can look at the team more than the pitcher for that. But whenever you are trying to make that next leap and make the playoffs, period, full stop, you have to take advantage of the days whenever your best pitcher is on the mound. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack hydration sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar, brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way for you to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. The Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. My personal favorites so far have been the almond butter chip and the iced tea lemonade hydration mix. It's just really full of flavor. I love starting my day with it, and I couldn't imagine starting my day with anything else other than IQ Bar products. Right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
Paul Skenes wasn't perfect on Sunday. I talked about the 2 home runs, but all year, it seemed like he's done a better job executing to his hand side than to his glove side. He's having a harder time, it looks like, revving in pitches to left-handed hitters. And if you look at the pitch chart, you'll notice that on the hand side, there's like this giant empty space of what would be like considered the heart of the zone. And then as you start to go more and more left, there are a lot more pitches that are either falling way off the plate or they're in the heart of the zone. And I mean, that's in part because he's basically been pitching, fastball changeup as his primary pitch combo this year. But on Sunday, he goes sweeper heavy. Sweeper isn't really that big a factor. He did get strikeouts with the slider. It was nice to see that pitch actually make an impact, but we look at the whole year. The splitter isn't playing like it has in the past. The sweeper isn't playing like it has in the past. He's kind of become like really a 2 or 3 pitch guy out there most times of like what's going to be consistently executed in the tunnels and the zones that he wants it to. I say this as I talk about someone who had a legitimate claim, or still does have a legitimate claim, of being the best pitcher in baseball, trying to justify why his ERA is almost 3. But even if it is 3, he deserves better results than this. I remember having a conversation with Henry Davis last year, and this was really in reference to the offensive woes. It's like, we have pitchers who go 6 innings and 3 runs, and we can't let them feel like they let the team down. Like, that's a quality start. You did your job. We need to pick you up from there. And offense as a whole has been a lot better, but you have to take care of the ace too. If Paul Skenes is not getting wins, I don't see how this Pirates team makes the postseason. Like, it's a very basic take to say, but these are the days where your team is supposed to be at its best. If fate of the universe hinges on the Pittsburgh Pirates winning a game, everyone's fully rested, build the lineup. Every single person is picking Paul Skenes to start. And the Pirates are 6-9 in those games this year. That is a real, real problem. I don't know what goes into fixing the myriad of problems with this team right now. Like, I know I'm going to talk about the bullpen at some point this week. I don't know when, but it's just one of those inevitable, like, there's going to be an ugly game and we're going to have to just talk about the bullpen again. It just feels inevitable for that. It just feels inevitable at some point we're going to have to talk about, the defense not coming through. And it's one thing for things like that, but it feels weird that the inevitable with Paul Skenes is like, they're not going to take advantage, that they're not going to do enough. That this guy who, again, could go down as one of the best, if not the best pitcher in franchise history, is barely over 500 in his Pirates career. The Pirates are barely over 500 in games where he's towed the rubber. So you talk about, and we've talked about for 2 years, are the Pirates wasting Paul Skenes? It's a different way this way. The 25 team did not have a legitimate chance of making the postseason, and it became painfully clear by, mid-April that they were not going to be a playoff club. The 26 team is greatly improved. They should be, on paper, in the mix. We will see if they can survive, losing O'Neal Cruz and what this bullpen has been doing this year. See if they can get through closer to the All-Star break, closer to the trade deadline, so they can supplement the roster. And, we are still in a spot where the Pirates have a decent chance of playing in October. They're not going to do it if they're going to be losing 60% of Paul Skenes' starts. And that's as simple as that. The Tigers, 2 years in a row, made the playoffs on the back of what they did in Skubal starts. Paul Skenes' results in stats are very, very comparable. They are both Cy Young winners. I'm not asking or proposing something that's unrealistic. One team made the postseason because of their Cy Young. One team is not in a postseason position right now because they're not winning the games that their Cy Young pitcher starts. Thank you so much for listening to Offbeat here on North Shore 9 presented by FanDuel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe wherever you find podcasts or check us out on YouTube if you want to see my smiling face. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube. If you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.